Hey everybody, Motorpoet59 here. I'm going to do a little something different this segment. This isn't going to be political, and at least I don't think it is. Not political to me. Some people may feel it is. I don't know. But I want to start off with this disclaimer. I am not a physicist, nor am I an astrophysicist, but I'm getting ready to play one on YouTube. Star Wars, Star Trek, I love these series. Dune, although I'm not as huge a fan of Dune as I am of many other science fiction films. I do like Dune. It's a bizarre film, but it is another film. Whereas with Star Wars, Star Trek, and other films and franchises and TV series where they deal with faster than light travel. It is imperative that they do this because without faster than light travel, the movies would be incredibly long and the people would be really old when they got somewhere. The problem is that faster than light travel is just a bunch of hooey. It is just not possible. With everything we know about physics, Albert Einstein's theories, it's an absolute, and the speed of light cannot be exceeded. And I've heard people say, and still hear people say sometimes, what about these civilizations that are 10,000 years or a million years ahead of us in technology? Well, that's all well and good. I'll bet they have some really cool blenders and coffee machines, but they can't travel faster than light either because physics is physics. As I said, I'm not a physicist, but I have studied this. It's something that's always fascinated me. Would we ever be able to actually do that? And the answer is no. We have the Large Hadron Colliders, which accelerate particles, something as small as a particle, a piece of an atom, with all the energy that the collider at CERN has. And you should look that up, CERN, it's in France. And they use magnets to accelerate these particles to 99.999% the speed of light, but they can't get even a particle of an atom accelerated to the speed of light. And as matter approaches the speed of light, it becomes infinitely dense. It doesn't matter if it's a paperclip or a spaceship. As it approaches that, it's going to become dense to the point that there is no form of propulsion that we can. I'm talking about traveling in space, not in a collider with a particle. I'm talking about traveling through space. There's no means of propulsion that we have or will ever be able to design that will propel anything to the speed of light and beyond. And you would have to have an infinite amount of fuel to make that possible, even if it were possible, and it would take you 1,000 years possibly to get accelerated to that speed. It's not like you could just take off and be going the speed of light in a couple of hours. I mean, the speed of light, 186,000 miles per second. Even if you were to accelerate to that speed in a couple of hours, the forces on the vessel would destroy it. It would probably kill anyone inside the ship. It's just not possible. On Star Trek, they talk about warp speed. In Star Wars, they have what do they call it? Hyperspace? I can't even remember now. As big a fan as I am of that franchise, I can't even remember. But it doesn't matter. They have their way of getting across the galaxy, and the Enterprise has its way of getting across the galaxy. Exceeding light speed would have to occur to make that happen, and to make some of the trips that they've made. Star Wars never really talks about how far something is or where they have to go. Star Trek's a little more involved in that, where they talk about different quadrants of the galaxy, and Star Trek Voyager, where they had to travel 70,000 light years to get back to Earth. But the fastest vessels that we've ever launched, ones that are traveling the fastest right now, are the Voyager probes that have left the solar system and are traveling at approximately 50,000 miles per hour. At 50,000 miles per hour, the closest star to us is Proxima Centauri. They have found a planet orbiting Proxima Centauri, and it can't support life, but that's the closest place to us that has a planet, and it is the closest star to us. It's a little over 4 light years away. Traveling at 50,000 miles per hour, it would still take around 70,000 years, give or take a few thousand years, to get there. People don't seem to realize that. You people that believe in UFOs and that other alien civilizations have been to Earth, hey, sorry. We have yet to find an Earth-like planet that could possibly sustain life, be in the habitable zone of its star and all. We've yet to find one. I don't know which exoplanet is the furthest away that has an Earth-like, a rocky planet orbiting its star. But like I said, even if it's only 4 light years away, we're never going to be able to go there. I don't even know why we're wasting time and money messing with it. The science is interesting, but I think it's a waste of time. And I love astronomy. Got my own telescope. I've been into it for a long time, and I love astronomy. And like I said, I think the science is fascinating, but I think there are other aspects of astronomy and other aspects of humanity that we could be putting those resources towards. But that's just my opinion. But somebody coming visiting here, it hasn't happened. And the reason I say that is why? There's nothing here. There's nothing around us. Is someone going to come hundreds or thousands or even tens of light years to all that time and expense and all the resources that a civilization would have to put into that? If we were going to try to do something like that, one political thing, there couldn't be any parties or anything like that. It would have to be a global consortium, and I mean everybody putting together the resources to do something like that. And that's never going to happen on Earth. It would have to be an entire planet of one mind and one accord, willing to go to all the expense to take the chance, because they can't tell if there's life here. If they're that far, what kind of civilization they have. They're a million years ahead of us, and they're 50 light years from here. They can't tell if there's any life on Earth. Why go to all that trouble to come here? You could warp space, like they talk about in Star Trek, or fold space, as they talk about in Dune. In Dune, they have specific people who are able to accomplish that, and not everybody can just do it. It's not, the third stage navigators. And in Star Trek, they have warp speed. And the theory of both of those is that rather than going from point A to point B, being propelled by something, they take point A and point B, and in Star Trek, their warp engines develop a warp field that warps the space. The theory of that is like riding a wave, but you're riding a wave of space-time rather than a wave of water. And in Dune and folding the space, it's the same concept. Point A and point B are folded together. And the energy that it would take to do something like that, even with something as small as a small probe, would be almost infinite as far as the energy we would be able to generate on Earth, let alone from that small probe. To generate that kind of a field, to do that with space-time with a large ship. But I have watched deals where people theorize that it would take about the equivalent energy that the sun puts out in an hour, and that is more energy than we've ever created on Earth or will ever be created. You just can't capture that kind of energy. You can't just toss that around. I still think that the idea of UFOs and stuff is fun, but it's not realistic. And the light speed barrier is why. I'm not saying that some other intelligent form of life doesn't exist somewhere else in the universe, but if it does, we're never going to know about them and they're never going to know about us. Also, one of the things that people never take into consideration, Star Trek and Star Wars certainly don't, is the time factor. Theory that Albert Einstein postulated is time comes to a stop as you approach the speed of light. And so if you take off on a ship and you go the speed of light and you travel 1,000 light years and then travel 1,000 light years back to Earth, 2,000 years will have passed for the people on Earth. If you can travel 1,000 times the speed of light, you'll only been gone a couple of hours, but 2,000 years will have passed on Earth. And no one ever addresses that. I always thought it was funny that, the Enterprise would be recalled to Earth for some issue and they would travel, 1,000 light years, whatever, back to Earth, and everybody's still the same age when they got back, and that just doesn't line up with the theory of relativity. I don't know. What do you think? You think faster than light travel is possible? You think that other species and other alien races have visited Earth? And why? What makes you think that? And let me know in the comments below. Shoot me an email at motopoet59@gmail.com, and we'll talk to you all later.